I am all for, work hard, go, go, go when it's your business. But when it's somebody else's business, girl, you need to put boundaries on that shit. And that person is going to tell you that you need to work for my business the same way that you would work for your business. But the reality is, when you work for a company, you are making a fraction of the value that you're delivering. Hello, guys. So in this video, I'm going to be reacting to Emma Grede's comments about women working from home and what we need to do to get promoted into the C-suite. I've seen a lot of reaction videos to this clip, but I feel like there's a lot that we're still not talking about when it comes to this video. And so I decided to create my own reaction. And if you don't already know, my name is Maureen. I make videos about whatever I want to talk about, and I will continue to make these commentary videos. So if you enjoy this video, make sure you subscribe and so that you don't miss any more. Everything that I say in this video is my own opinion. I'm not making any factual statements about anybody, but I'm just giving my own opinion about this video, and nothing is to be taken as a fact. Let's get into it.
And what I think is that work from home culture is a career killer for women. And let me explain to you why. Remembering that I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women that work for me. Now,
first off, just the whole hundreds of hundreds of hundreds of hundreds and women that work for me. It's just so elitist. I don't like this whole work for me mindset. I think that bosses and employers need to realize that the reason why your company is as successful as it is because of your employees. And I think that employees should be seen more as collaborators and partners and not people that work for you. I feel like employers who kind of put themselves at an elevated level to their employees is already just, I don't like that. When employers use this hierarchical language when it comes to their employees, when literally your employees are giving you more value than you're giving them in cash, and your companies would literally not exist if it wasn't for your employees. So that's the first thing. I already don't like the vibe of that.
What is happening is that we talk about all of this sort of upside of Zoom culture, but none of the rigidity of it. And no one will really tell you. But careers require proximity and visibility.
Okay, what rigidity is she referring to when she says we don't talk about the rigidity of Zoom culture? What rigidity? Can you elaborate? Can you expand on that? I think it's pretty rigid to expect people to come into an office and do work that they can complete from home with no issues. You trying to control where people physically do the work when the work does not require them to be physically in office is being rigid as a company and as an employer. So what rigidity are we talking about? Maybe I missed the point on that one. You guys can let me know, but I don't understand what she means by rigidity.
You want a pay rise? You want the next promotion? You want the big corner office? Guess what? You need to be there. You might not want to hear it because it might be comfortable in your living room, but the facts are the facts.
You want a pay raise, you want a promotion, you want a corner office. Girl, first off, it's 2026. Nobody's aspiring to a corner office. What world are you living in? This is not what people look for in fulfillment. We've all realized what capitalism is. We've all realized we have other things that we value outside of being in a corner office. These elites, I feel like these executives and elites are so out of touch because they worship money and they worship status. They literally idolize being able to flaunt an office and things like that. So they project that onto us. But I also question how much she would want a corner office, because it's not like you're sitting around climbing a fucking ladder aiming for a corner office either. You just ditched the whole thing and went and started your own company. But yeah, this whole dangling, promotions and offices above people's heads and being like, you want a corner office? Are you willing to sacrifice time with your family? It's just what do you think we are? And we all know this promotion shit, it's often just breadcrumbing you. All those years you've sacrificed time with your family, you've sacrificed your health, okay? Because you're working 3 levels above you just to get a freaking 2% raise at the end of the day, an additional $50 on your paycheck. These people are just so patronizing. There was a study that actually came out showing that executives are often psychopaths. Okay, I'm going to put that somewhere on the screen. And we need to be listening to these people with that framing. And I love how she just brushes it off as, I know it's not as comfortable in your house. Do you really think that women are out here asking to work from home because it's more comfortable in their house? How out of touch are you? How out of touch? You can't think of number one, the commute time that takes away from people and their family. Number two, childcare is very expensive. If a woman is working and all that money is ultimately going to childcare, there is no point in her going to work. at some point the math has to math for it to even make sense for her to continue to work. Okay. And the other thing that is important to remember, she's saying that women are not getting promoted because they're working from home. What she's describing to me, I mean, she's an owner of an organization, so I can only assume this is how her organization is running. So if the women in your organization are not being promoted because they're working from home, is that the case for the men as well? And if not, do you attribute that outcome to anything other than the individual woman's fault? Because this, to me, shows a lack of systems thinking ability.
You might not want to hear it because it might be comfortable in your living room, but the facts are the facts. And I'm not here to sugarcoat information or to load women up with toxic positivity. So you almost feel like it's a way to
also, I don't want to say push us out, but it's almost slowly a way to be like, you're not needed, or you don't really, it's not there's no urgency because you're away.
It's eroding the potential for women to be successful.
Interesting.
Okay, I think this part was really interesting. And I want you guys to notice how Emma Grede quickly says, so Keke says, so you think we're being pushed out? And Emma Grede says, it's eroding a woman's ability or potential to advance, or whatever she said. So Keke tries to frame this as a systemic issue. And if she says that this is an issue with the system or the environment or the organization, who does that implicate? That would implicate the CEO, right? Emma doesn't want to be implicated. She didn't come here to implicate the leaders of the organization. She didn't come here to implicate the CEO or the C-suite. Or why? Because she's one of them. She did not come here. She came here to shift blame to the employee. That's what she came here to do. She did not come here to catch strays. She didn't want those bullets ricocheting back to her. That's not what she came here to do. So now she needs to neutralize the blame. Okay. So she's not going to say, no, it's not us. I'm not saying it's the environment. I'm saying it's the individual. Because she can't do that. She's just going to neutralize it and say, it's just happening. It's eroding women's ability to, who is eroding women's ability to climb? Who? Because this whole time, you've been blaming it on the woman. The moment that Keke tries to put some accountability on you, now you're like, it's nobody. It's just eroding women's ability. I'm just saying. Right before she pivots back to blaming the women. Let's continue.
Period. End off. Your boss won't tell you that because they're not allowed to tell you.
And then I also think it's not a coincidence that she, right after that, says, your boss won't tell you that. Because she's trying to kind of distance herself from being perceived as like a boss. She's trying to be like, I'm your friend. I'm telling you this as a friend. I'm not telling you this. Now she's trying to distance herself from the boss narrative, which she created at the beginning of this clip where she was like, hundreds and hundreds of women work for me. Right? You were a boss just 2 minutes ago, but now you're saying your boss won't tell you that. Aren't you literally the boss that's telling your employees that right now? Why are you trying to position yourself as our friend now? You just positioned yourself as an authority at the beginning of this clip. So why are you now trying to position yourself as our friend that we should listen to? Right after Keke tried to put some accountability on the leaders in the organization that you so conveniently neutralized.
The way we have built human resource culture in this country and the rest of the Western world is that no one can have that conversation with you. But the truth is the truth.
What do you mean? I don't know what she means because leaders every day tell their employees that they need to come back into office. What do you mean? Like, what is the conversation that our leaders can't tell us that we can't come into office? Or our leaders are saying that? Is it like, I really want to know, is it just the women that are choosing not to come into office? Like, I have so many questions. Questions. I don't know what she's referring to. Our bosses tell us, like, if you want to get promoted, you need to be visible. Come back to office policies are passed all the time. Is she saying that your boss wouldn't tell you that the reason why you're not getting promoted is because you're a woman? Then if that's the case, why are we having a conversation? Go and fix your leaders who are making the promotion choices.
It just is. If you're not there, if you're not in the room, there is going to be somebody else that is. And guess what? Like, they will get that opportunity over you.
And first of all, let me just address the fact that she says it just is, right? One thing I've noticed about these like elites and executives and celebrity, like these people that are just, they think they are first class humans and the rest of us are just peasants. They like to state things like it's a natural law. She's like, in order for you to get promoted, you just can't work from home. Stating these things as a matter of fact, it's a manipulation tactic to try and get people to buy into bullshit. Okay. If you work from home and you're a woman, you will not get promoted, and there's nothing we can do about it. This is just how it is. There are plenty of women being promoted and they're working from home today. It's just happening in a different organization. Just because that's not the case in your organization, because you may have incompetent leaders who don't know how to assess people's work and ability and who don't know how to give credit where it's due. Maybe you have leaders in your organization that are too sexist to be able to give people the promotions that they deserve just because they are working from home and they're not around to enjoy their presence for whatever reason. If a manager cannot assess how someone is performing simply because that person is not physically in front of them smiling and kissing their ass, that is an incompetent manager. You might want to address that issue.
This is not about like whether or not these things are true or properly understood or whether they're right, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because I know that for some people, they're like, but wait a minute, I need this flexibility. The way that we all come into work now.
She's like, it doesn't matter. It's not about whether it's right, because some people are like, I need this flexibility. Yeah, actually, it is about whether it's right. As the CEO of a company, if something is wrong in your organization, unethical, it is literally your responsibility to fix it. So for you to just be like, it's not about whether it's right. Okay, so you're basically saying if there's sexism, it's not about whether it's right or wrong or not. It's just how it is. Girl, it is very much about whether it's right. And you should always be striving to create an equitable environment for your employees.
And listen, I run organizations that are very flexible. Nobody misses things that they need to do, a dentist appointment, an appointment with their kids, because they have to be in work from this hour to this hour. There's a level of flexibility that's assumed in the workplace right now. But
girl, the fact that you think allowing your employees to go to their medical appointments or their children's medical appointments is you being flexible. You're acting like you deserve some type of cookie. That is not flexibility. I'm pretty sure there are laws against you preventing people to go to their medical appointments. Like, who told you that is not the definition of flexibility, girl? That is not. These are things that people need to do. I'm pretty sure there are labor laws around that. And if there aren't, there should be. But for you to sit here and act like I run a flexible organization because we allow people to go to their medical appointments, that's like employers who think they're doing you a favor by allowing you to like attend a funeral when you have a death in the family, and they're just like, oh, I'm so kind. I can't believe I'm allowing you to attend the we're so flexible. Like, we're supposed to give them a fucking cookie. This is the bare fucking minimum. These people are creating millions of dollars for you. Do you understand that? And what you're paying them is a fraction of what they're making for you. And that's just the objective reality, because you are worth way more than what they are worth when you look at your net worth and you compare the value exchange. I'm going to need for employees to really understand the value that you're bringing to these companies. These people literally make money off of exploiting your labor, which is why they come on podcasts and tell you to work your ass off to fucking death, basically. And this is the best thing you could, this is the virtuous thing to do. Let's continue.
But I think it's a little bit like this idea that we've built for ourselves that you can listen your way to success. Like, if I just stack all these podcasts, like, I'm going to get really successful. No, ambition has to find you working.
Okay, this was like a really weird, like, tangent. I feel like, what do you mean if you listen to all these like, what are we talking? Like, I feel like she's like struggling to stay on topic at this point, because what do you mean? Like, listening to who said, like, I thought we were talking about working from home. Where did this subject of listening to podcast? But I do agree with her, right? Like, you can't just learn and never implement. So that is an issue that some people have. That is an issue that people have when they're, in life in general. But that was like a little bit random. And then she says, ambition has to find you working. I don't even know what that statement means. Does she mean like success has to find you working? Like, I don't understand what ambition has to find you working means, honestly. But yeah, again, this messaging that you're supposed to be working at all times, and if you don't work at all times, you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss your opportunity. Like, girl, this narrative that we need to work to death is a lie. Okay. CEOs hardly work. They basically outsource their fucking brain. They have strategists. They have people that just come and report shit to them and inform them. And these people barely work. They make their money off of exploiting the labor of the people below them. Okay? This is how these people make money. This is why they panic about talent and being able to find people to work for them. This is why they panic about the women in their organization demanding more, asking for basic flexibility in their job, like allowing them to work from home, because it's the employees that are making their money for them, and they do that by paying them as little as possible and reaping as much as possible out of those people, which is why they're encouraging you to work. They want to squeeze as much energy and labor out of you because that's what ultimately makes them money. And they want to pay you as little as possible and give you as little as possible. This is how it works. It's called arbitrage. They pay you less for the labor that you're producing so that they can squeeze the profit margins. That's how it works. This is what CEOs do all day. So to sit here and act like, I think earlier in the podcast, she said something like, yeah, like the success of Good American. She basically talks about like her jean brand, Good American, and how like she was just really attentive to the details. And like every feedback she got, she improved the product. Every feedback she got, girl, we buy jeans in villages in Kenya that are just as good as Good American. The reason why Good American made the amount of money that it made is because you tapped into the brand power of Khloe Kardashian. You tapped into someone else's brand powers. It wasn't because you are millions of times better and more detail oriented than other people. It's not because you were a million times better at selling. And to the extent that you were, it was your employees that did that. It wasn't you. You just sat there and took all the credit, which is what CEOs do. She clearly is a strategist, and she clearly knows who she needs to network with to tap into which brands to maximize her profits. Don't act like you were working and working and working and that's why you got to 500 million. No, you tapped into your connections and brand power. So please don't lie to us. Don't come and play in our faces.
And work is just work.
I think about this a lot when I think about words like responsibility and accountability. And I do feel like sometimes in work culture, we can find ourselves giving all of that power to our employers. Because we don't know how to exercise no. We don't know how, when it's our point in our turn to extend a boundary or to walk away if we need to. And so I think about those things when we talk about these comments or just employee and work culture. And I'm curious, even if it's just us looking at our own selves, what's your relationship to responsibility and accountability when it comes to work-life balance?
It's yours. It's yours. And it's very, very important that you take it seriously.
Okay, so here she goes again, right? So suddenly it's fully the employee's responsibility to make sure they have a work-life balance, even though if we decide to have a work-life balance and work from home, we won't get promoted, which is also not we don't have a say in that, right? Like, it's just like, girl, just this to me, the only thing I'm gathering from this is a leader in an organization who will not take accountability or responsibility, which is a lot of leaders in corporate, unfortunately. A lot of leaders don't have good leadership training. She needs to get leadership training. There's a free Harvard course on leadership that I took here on YouTube. Please go through it. You can't say that it's up to people to decide their work-life balance in an episode where you're talking about how women are not going to be promoted unless they come into the office, like literally punishing people for asking for flexibility. And then you're telling them it's their responsibility to somehow figure out the work-life balance. Like, can you guys please make this make sense? Please make this make sense.
And that you match it with what it is that you're trying to achieve. So it is not for everybody that you want to give more, extend the boundaries, work extra. That's for those ambitious little monsters that want a lot of success. And not everybody needs to be like that.
It's just for the ambitious little monsters that want to be successful. Like, she frames it as though people who want to like overwork themselves are just like the healthier people. They're the ones who have their head on straight. They're the ambitious little monsters that we love. And those of us who are not working hard enough, we just clearly don't want success, and we're not ambitious enough. We're just lazy bums. And that's why we're not willing to kill ourselves working at these jobs. Like, girl, in my view, the people who are overworking themselves just to get a promotion are actually the ones who are not very healthy and don't have enough boundaries. And people who are prioritizing chasing money and chasing a promotion over their having time to spend with their family, those are people who are workaholics and are not actually healthy. Even when you look at the people who've climbed up the ranks in corporate, they're always overworked, some type of burnt out, bald, miserable, have an attitude. Like, they're not happy. They're not happy because the sacrifices that you have to make, the higher up you climb up the ranks, is insane. You have to just constantly throw away your dignity, kiss ass, play this bullshit game, deal with politics, deal with bureaucracy. Your health takes a hit. Your family relationships take a hit. Like, girls, stop selling us a dream that does not exist.
If you are those people, realize that you will need to go the extra mile. You did not wake up one day, Keke, and like fall into your latest movie. You auditioned, you worked, you practiced, you took good jobs, not so good jobs. You changed agent, you move over here, you adapt the team, you learn, you go to classes. You have to do all of this stuff. And that's the truth of it.
And I do know that this is a fine line, but I find it so interesting. And I'm not comparing your comments to his, but when we do hear men, like even we think about President Obama saying there is no work-life balance.
He said the exact same thing, him and Mark Cuban.
I think it's very interesting because, I agree with you.
Because your expectation of me is that if I don't say something warm and cuddly and empathetic and put it in a way that is digestible for women, because women might not be able to hear it in the same way, that somehow I'm wrong. But the truth is women can take it. We can take the information and then we can make the decision.
Why are you making assumptions that we can't hear you because of your delivering it straight, no chaser? Like, we don't have an issue with hearing you that way. You might have an issue with it. Maybe that's a projection. But then you're turning around and acting like, but we can take it. Like you're a girl's girl now. Now you're back to, believing in women's ability to be able to take feedback if it's not sandwiched in a compliment sandwich. Girl, bye. And I wish they would have been more specific about what she means by work-life balance and also what Obama meant when he said work-life balance doesn't exist. Basically, what they mean when they say that is the work schedule is usually we work from 9 to 5 and then you rest from 5 to 9. And a lot of entrepreneurs push back on that because when people try to go from being employees to entrepreneurship, they try to operate on that schedule. But that's not how business typically works. Typically in business, you have seasons where you have to be very aggressive and you have to work basically around the clock. And there are seasons when things are slow and you get to chill. So you basically have to reimagine what that work-life balance looks like. They're not arguing that you should never get any rest. And they're certainly not arguing that as an employee working for somebody else, that you should never get any rest. Of course, the CEO of a company is going to argue that. She's going to twist that message because she wants her employees to do that. So this is the other thing we need to remember. I am all for, work hard, go, go, go when it's your business. But when it's somebody else's business, girl, you need to put boundaries on that shit. And that person is going to tell you that you need to work for my business the same way that you would work for your business. But the reality is when you work for a company, you are making a fraction of the value that you're delivering. When I tell you, you are probably getting paid 1/1000th of the value that you're delivering, it would be a betrayal to yourself. It would be a betrayal to your health, to your family, to your purpose, to your well-being if you overexert yourself. It would be the wrong move because you are not being compensated for that. And that work is not ultimately going to translate into dollars, especially not for employers like this, because most employers are going to have you working like that for 3 whole years to demonstrate that you're ready for a promotion. They'll have you operating on that level for years, just demonstrating that you deserve this 2% raise. But if you were doing that for your own business, that work that you're putting in directly translates into the profits that you're going to make. That energy that you're pouring directly translates and it comes back to you 100%, right? So I think that Emma is twisting this message. And yeah, this is something to be very careful about. Like these executives are, again, they've been studied and it's been shown that executives tend to be psychopaths and they play these mind games and these manipulation games. And you have to be very careful. I'm not saying that she's a psychopath, but I am seeing a lot of manipulation, toxic messaging, very harmful messaging in this video. They're not speaking clearly and they're not speaking to specifics for a reason because that's how the manipulation works. So you need to be very careful.
And again, it's about you get to make that decision. You don't have to do that. But it's like, at least have the information. Don't be sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I wonder why all of this great stuff isn't happening for me when I am logging into that Zoom all the time.
I also think like it's gaslighting to say that it's up to you. You get to make the decision, right? The problem is it's like when you're an employee, your employer pretty much has your livelihood and thus your survival. They have your survival and your livelihood in their hands, right? So when they say, this is how it has to be, but it's your choice. It's gaslighting because they act like you have a choice when you don't really have a choice. The reality is if you don't do what they say, you're probably going to lose your job. These organizations are tyrannical. It's not a democracy. You don't get to decide what you will and will not do at work. You get to obey. okay, which is what makes it slavery. It's a form of wage slavery, right? You have to obey, otherwise your livelihood will be taken away. So it's never going to be up to you until you have control over your own livelihood. And that's the reality. That's what she's not trying to tell you. That's why she quit and started her own company. Okay? Because you don't have any real decision-making power or anything.
It's like, well,
and I think both things can be true in meaning there is hyper-functioning, there is overdoing it, but there are also seasons of, I got to go for it. And then you check yourself. Like, I've had to do that with myself. I've been running for so many years, working. I don't regret any of it. I have been putting it out on the line. I have been acting like I won't get fed tomorrow. That's how much I've been going for it. But then there's also a season where you say, okay, well, we did now. Let me have gratitude for what all those years did for me. Let me sit back and now let me choose. Now I can say, because of the work I put in and what I decided to do for these first 20 years of my career, that now as we get into 21, 22, 23, 25, I can start to rearrange. And I think that's also something that I want people to understand is like, there is this reality that you can't get around this hard work. It's extreme hard work, if that's what you want.
But and that's what it comes back to. Listen, extraordinary careers come with extraordinary effort.
Extraordinary careers come with extraordinary effort. No, girl. Sometimes extraordinary careers come with knowing the right people. And sometimes extraordinary careers come from playing manipulation mind games to get your employees to slave for you just to pay them a fraction in return. Okay? Sometimes that's how extraordinary careers are created. I'm not saying that this is what Emma Grede is doing, but I'm just offering you guys a perspective that I feel like is literally not being discussed. So we need to go and be excellent for our own businesses.